This is Andre. He runs a consulting business in the music production industry. And my name is Nik Setting, founder of Grow Acquisition, where we help experts build and scale their knowledge into scalable info products. And today, Andre will be explaining his business problems to me, my COO, and my CMO. And we're going to help him set the foundation for $1 million months. He has a skill set, he has clients. Now it's time to become an industry leader, making an actual change.
Tell us about your current situation.
We have a personalized mentorship and an education system for electronic music producers who want to release professional tracks in their own style. Our 6 months revenue is 619,000 and our 6 months net profit is 409,000 USD with a 66% margin.
Very solid.
So our current problems is sales tracking, advertising, and financing for clients. In the sales tracking, our data, it's unorganized across multiple platforms. We need to consolidate it together. And we need a simplified solution and an SOP for a closer to be able to help us. And for advertising, currently we're relying on media buyers and instead of doing it ourselves.
A lot of money as well. How much do you pay your media buyers, if I might ask?
That's one of the problems. Our media buyer is cheap.
Okay. So. Good to find somebody else, and I think it's good to talk about how we can optimize the ad sequence to be able to create that scale.
And a good media buyer is so valuable.
Yeah.
I cannot even explain. Like, there's two types of media buyers in my eyes. There's one that launches ads, you give them ads and they launch them. Another one is kind of more of a marketer that knows the media buying, and that's who you want.
Yeah, what we've been thinking is we just want to, like, advertising is the one thing in my business that I haven't taken responsibility for. And we've been purely organic this whole time. Like, we've crossed over 7 figures in cash collected, purely organic. And advertising has been the last thing that we've done. So
how long have you been doing ads so far?
About a year. Yeah, so we're unclear on the specific ads to create in terms of cold and retargeting. As I said, advertising is new to me. So the problem is we're based in EU and we're based in Portugal. And when it comes to, like, in US, there's solutions like Affirm, and I think in UK as well and whatnot. The way it works doesn't really sit so well with our clients because we have like a broke niche. There's like the struggling music producer.
So our primary avatars are aspiring electronic music producers who want to take their music to a professional level. So these are beginners who are interested in getting started, basically. And we have intermediate producers who are struggling to finish and release consistent original tracks. So people who have already started but just want to take it to the next level. And then finally, we also deal with advanced producers who want to break through the scene, sign on pro labels, and tour the globe. So people who are already well within the industry, like they know they have music already, they know what they're doing.
Difficult question, but what would you say is the split? Is it like 33% all three of them, or what is the majority of your clients?
Most of them are the beginners, then they trickle into the intermediate, and less for the advanced. And we're in the process of helping people push all the way down and through.
Yeah. Exactly, because obviously you need a financing because there are a lot of aspiring people, right, that don't have the capital to invest up front, which then relates to not having a lot of advanced clients in the first place. So that makes sense.
In terms of pain points, struggle to finish full release-ready tracks, constantly stuck in loops. They rely heavily on presets, packs, or templates, and everything sounds generic. They lack structure or workflows. Progress feels random and inconsistent. And they're overwhelmed by conflicting tutorials and advice without personalized feedback. So this is something that for music producers in general, like having real feedback, not just from friends and family, but like, constructive feedback is it's very important for them. And that's something that we provide.
So the transformation that we offer is we help aspiring electronic music producers become professional artists with unique sound, a professional workflow. Our mechanism is our 12-month framework that combines one-on-one with professional artists. Also, we do 5 weekly live workshops. It's the group. The delivery model is one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and self-paced course, and we have a mastermind as well.
As an upsell, or is that just individually included in the main program?
We have a low ticket, we have a mid ticket, we have the high ticket, and then we have the mastermind.
I see.
Fantastic.
Got it.
Full funnel.
Would you say your end goal or the outcome that they're looking for, is that related with money? Because the question I have is, do these music producers, do they want to become famous? Or is it mainly like the money aspect? I want to really build a career and make money out of it.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say it's not the money. Money is not what drives these people. This is more of passion, hobby.
It's a dream.
If the money comes, cool, it comes. Yeah. But they want more of the status.
I see massive pain points that we can tackle there on a personal level to these people as well. When you have these personal pain points in your content, whether with our offer, it's about money. You guys are here to make money. We're all here to make money right now. So like that's what we're gonna do. You see what I mean? So it is a different outcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We have a one-on-one coaching and a group coaching. That's our mentorship. Our annual, it's 4,000 USD price point. And for 2 years, this is what we mainly sell. It's 6,000 USD, where we've actually created a new one where we include the mastermind. And we actually have a 12K USD offer now.
Talk percentages. I'm curious, based on the people that come in.
The combined one is new, and it seems like everyone's more interested in that one.
Really?
The in-person thing, actually being able to be with the artists. And also because we wrote Mastermind, but it's more of like a retreat. It's like a 1 week.
And I see greater content opportunities there as well.
It's gonna be the 8th year in a row we're doing the Mastermind. It's always sold out. I've never marketed it. It's always just been sold out through Ascension.
All these years that you've done that, have you leveraged this in long form content?
No.
The mastermind has always been kind of like a secret. Only people inside know that it exists, basically.
But the mastermind can be a marketing asset also for the core offer, right? Because it brings visibility for your ICP.
Good thing I have 8 years of recordings.
There you go. We can still leverage it.
you
We're
go.
not too late.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know how Sam Ovens released his old school, like whiteboard type of videos, 2 hours long that everybody loved to watch? That's exactly you in your B2C niche.
So with the core offer, you said a lot of people go for the 2 years, 6K, right? What made you guys choose for 4K 1 year and 6K 2 years? Because in general, it's quite a long period for a program.
The only difference between that is basically additional one-on-one sessions with the coaches. Otherwise, everything is the same.
Everything else is the same. The first offer was a 12-week program. I tried a 6-week program. I tried an 8-week program. Let me tell you, man, you are not gonna teach someone how to become a professional music producer in 6 weeks.
It's not possible.
In 12 weeks.
No, I actually think that the 4 and the 6 is like very attractive pricing. Because if you look at that and let's say you have the 6K, it's a no-brainer.
Dude, it's
right?
cheap. Like, we are at the limits in our space, I'll tell you that.
One of our clients, he was charging $4,000 and he never believed ever, and he's one of the top, that he could charge $10,000 for that specific done with you offer. Now they have done for you offers that they sell for $65,000 up front. So when you really gain that credibility, you become the biggest person ever, not only from a perspective of just scale, clients and amounts and volume, but also credibility, status and brand.
What is your current paid in full rate?
Dude, it's low, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, it really just depends on the person because like I said, we're selling to struggling musicians. So
Maybe
Yeah.
2%.
What?
Maybe 2%.
Oh, really?
Wow.
it's
Wow,
low, dude.
that is very low.
So
Yeah.
most clients, what is the payment plan they choose?
Kind of just figure out like, look, so now that you know the ticket, what are you putting down here today and how can we split the rest? So yeah, for our additional offers, we have a low ticket. It's like the free slice of pizza. We give you a free slice, you taste it, you're like, this is the best pizza I ever had in my life. Let me get the whole pie, let me walk in, right? Our low ticket offer, it's our first very basic showing them how to do the thing.
It's an easy win for them.
It's that first easy quick win. And then that's where we have the mid ticket, which it's a self-paced course. So this is kind of like the DIY. Right? I'll call it the A to Z. We show you from the beginning to end how to do the thing. And then we have
Group Mastermind 101.
Yeah.
Clear.
Great.
So we get clients primarily through organic. Historically, like since we started, it's always been organic. We only started with paid ads recently, like was mentioned, and it's July of last year is when we started.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we have 45,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's a gold mine, YouTube, for you guys.
Yeah, and right now our paid ads are only on Meta, and our monthly budget is 7,500 USD.
So this is how many clients we help a month. Our average month for inbound is around 600 leads, and we're getting around 170 booked calls. Average outbound, we don't have concrete data enough to provide you, but we are starting to do outbound now. It's not cold, it's warm. It's people who have opted in, and they either didn't book a call or they missed a call, and we need to get them back in.
Back in the ecosystem.
Yeah. Our active high ticket clients, we have 160 members.
Sales data for the last 6 months. So our total leads are 3,047. Total sales calls, 760. We've enrolled 94 clients, and our average monthly revenue is 103,000 USD.
Let's break a couple things down. When you say total leads, what does that mean? People that booked in a sales call?
Opted in.
Opted in.
Opted in. Okay, so how do they opt in? How does the funnel work like exactly?
So either organic or cold, they point to the same VSL. First they opt in, then they get hit with the VSL.
Who does the sales? You said you have closers. How many closers do you have and how does that operate?
I used to do all the sales. We've tried so many solutions to get other closers on board. We've tried this, that, and the other thing. We've burned so much cash, so much time.
Our clients smell salespeople and it repels them. So our ads in funnel performance, total ad spend, 45,000 USD plus. Our CPL is $34 USD. Total leads is 1,020 and deals closed is 83. And this is from Meta specifically, just.
Got it. So majority of the deals closed are coming from ads.
Right now,
Wow.
yes.
But you have such a strong brand. It's
Yeah,
so interesting.
and we're trying to scale it, you know? So, yeah.
You have no clarity on how to scale up the ads. Maybe there are problems that we could find in organic to make it more scalable. And as well as you have to understand an ad funnel and an organic funnel go hand in hand. Even though it's VSL and not, let's say, profile ads, people will see the Instagram, people will see the YouTube, and you should relate all these topics and all these assets within the ad funnel to make it as profitable as possible. Another question, whenever you book a sales call, do you send people a pre-call asset where you explain them things about the offer, their situation, and things like that? How does that work?
Yeah, so when people book a call, you know, they get in the flow, and also they get sent, we have a landing page with another VSL and other videos like FAQs, but they're kind of just like pre-handling objections.
What is holding you back from spending more money?
I didn't learn ads yet.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of resistance between us and our ad buyer, honestly.
You guys have a 66% margin. Let's say your average ticket is what? 5.5, 5K? So you're bringing home, let's say at least $2,500. You're spending $500 for a CPA, so you're taking 2K home.
66%.
Based on this, there shouldn't even be a discussion in my eyes that you guys should just raise your budgets. You know what I mean?
One of the fears we have is that the ads that we're running are not good, and we don't want to scale bad ads, basically.
I see. So why do you feel like your ads are not good?
Because I know we can do so much better. And if you've seen our ads, if we showed you our Meta ad library, I'm sure you would agree. Our advertising, we're just now starting to get into this. And what I mean by that is I'm now starting to take responsibility for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair enough. And you should 100% because obviously this is a successful channel. But if you guys look at the numbers, once again, it's like a 10x ROAS. Any business that I've ever worked with, that they've ever worked with, if you see a 10x ROAS, you increase the budget. I understand that you guys have fear around the ads. I mean, I've personally managed over $100 million in ad spend. 20% per day is the max, generally, especially with how much you guys are spending. And so I'd be very curious to see how far you guys can get until that CPA starts to rise. But it would be stupid if you don't.
All right, a couple things we need to talk about. The first one is ads. We'll divide this into two different things. So the first thing is cold, top of the funnel. And then the second one I want to talk about is retargeting. Scripting is very important because you have good creatives, right? You think you can let them perform a lot better than they currently do. And we think we have to make a lot of re-optimizations in the copy, as well as the visual, the design, to make it perform better. And the last one is tracking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the sequence of how I think you should approach this system. We have a couple different steps here. So you have two different campaigns that we can run. First of all, we have an ABO campaign. And then the second thing is a CBO campaign. Facebook decides where to spend the money with a CBO campaign, right? With an ABO campaign, probably what you're running right now, you technically manually choose where you allocate the spend towards. So as an example, let's say we want to run the profile funnel. ABO campaign simply means what we're going to do is we're going to run a new campaign. This is a new campaign, and we divide this into multiple ad sets. So as an example, we have 3 different ad sets. Technically focused on broad, could be focused on specific interests. So let's say one will be broad, one could be one specific interest. What we do is we give all these specific ad sets one specific spend, meaning we could spend $50 per day on all of these. When we have this running, we attach creatives to it. So we can see exactly, based on the amount of money that we spend, which creative works the best. And what happens now is because all the spend is equal, then we'll figure out the exact proportion in which we know, okay, cool, we spent 50 here, 50 here, 50 here. We can see exactly what the winner of the creative is that it's going to be like. After, we're going to go into scripting and how we should create the visual of the creative so you have more clarity on that. Let's say we have 10 creative launched. When we spend, let's say, $50 on an individual ad set, we have 5 ad set running, we have, let's say, 5 creatives, or we add multiple creatives to that, we can see exactly which creative is performing well. So we utilize the ABO campaign purely for testing. We purely use this only for testing. Normally, this is a 4-day sequence. So we have 4 days in which we test this whole process before we make any other changes. After 4 days, we can either increase spend or change certain things. Because when you've spent $200 on a certain campaign in 4 days, we can already clearly see, based on the data, the Facebook dashboard, which creative is the best. Right. When that happens, we technically take the post ID from the creative that is working extremely well. Mm-hmm. So the top creative will take the post ID. You have a file, you save the post ID. What the post ID means, it's technically...
like the link on the slug.
Exactly. You also have a pixel, right?
Yeah, of course.
Pixel, right? So the pixel optimizes and gathers all the information. It's like a memory. So it knows exactly where to spend towards. Now, after we run the ABO campaign for 4 to 8 days, for us to see exactly what's working, we are gonna run a CBO campaign. And this is where the money is made. Because what you're currently doing is you're probably running an ABO campaign. And then, as said, as we described already, we need to increase ad spend anyway. So how a CBO campaign works is we run one specific campaign to one ad set. This ad set has spent, which could, let's say, be $250 a day. So it has all the spend included in one specific ad set. And this ad set is focused on broad. So instead of us focusing on an interest and on one specific market, we're gonna let Facebook decide who we're gonna target. And because we can make optimizations in the funnel, we can see exactly which lead is qualified that comes through the door and which ones we don't want as an opt-in. Facebook constantly memorizes the quality of leads that are coming in. So now, because we have this top creative, we can duplicate the post ID to the new creative. So it memorizes all the flow, the engagement and everything like that. So immediately when we will start running ads, it will create the most amount of profitability on this campaign. And even though you don't run an ABO campaign anymore, you run a CBO campaign, Facebook now decides, okay, cool, we're gonna allocate $250 of spend to this creative and 0 to these.
Right.
This is so powerful because 2 things. There's a lot of people who think they're smarter than Meta. You're not. Mm-hmm. Nobody is, okay? They have all of the data in the entire world. Generally, now, in a few hours, it can tell whether or not it's a winner or not, okay? Right. When you set up a campaign structure like this, you're gonna find winners very obviously. So let's say you have 5 ads on each of these ad sets. You'll generally see that one of them is performing very well based on CPA. It could be the lowest, all these different things. In your case, because people generally aren't buying on the back end, you also have to be conscious about quality, right? Just because you have a low CPA does not mean it's a good ad.
That's actually one of our problems as well.
As you said, right? Like we don't have the best performing ad right now, meaning if we make better ads, better creatives, and better copy, and better visual.
We work with a ton of creators who run ads in a very similar format. A lot of them come to us and they say, hey, I'm running these ads. The quality is horrible, okay? My cost per lead is very, very cheap. And so we look at their creatives and we find out that a majority of their creatives are completely lifestyle based. What we'll see is, hey, you need to focus more on your specific niche and focus on business. It's that simple. When they do that, generally their CPA will rise, but their cost per acquisition it dramatically lowers.
It's very simple.
It saves time for the closers. It just helps the funnel overall. And this is the most important part. The data that you send back to Facebook is so important. I can't reiterate on this enough. If you send bad data back, Facebook is going to go find more people that are just like that.
Do you mean like the lookalike, whether it's an inclusion or like exclusion?
Even with the creative, when you give Facebook only lifestyle format, how do you ever think it will produce a quality lead? If you make 10 different creatives and all these creatives are around lifestyle, right? Facebook can never grasp the right data for you to attract the right lead.
Yeah, well, in our situation, we don't do any lifestyle.
Yes,
exactly.
Correct.
Obviously.
Yeah, I'm just talking broad. So I'll explain to you the data that's getting sent back. So the first thing that you should do is talk to your media buyer, get the actual leads that have closed and send them back to Facebook. You can manually send them back and say, hey, these are conversions. That's the most important thing because they'll find more people like this. The other thing that you can do, you said you're not actually asking questions in your funnel at all, correct?
Our landing page has an opt-in.
Yes.
And we don't try to create too much friction because we've tested different levels of friction.
Yeah, I see.
And we're in the sweet spot right now. So we do have some questions. One of the main questions is we asked them, hey, are you this type of person for this thing? One of the problems we were having is we were attracting people from other subsets of the music industry that are completely unrelated.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we learned with our messaging that we were kind of speaking the wrong message that was kind of
too
bringing
broad.
everyone in. Yeah,
It's too broad.
Yeah.
So we've tightened up our messaging a bit, and also we do have that one qualifying question in the opt-in that says like, hey, are you this type of person?
Yeah. So 100%. And if you ever find that quality of lead is bad, it means that you don't have enough friction, meaning you're not asking the right questions, or you're sending the wrong data back to Facebook.
Exactly.
And they generally tie together. One other thing about this works so well because you find the winner here, okay? You're not spending a big budget at all. And then you're scaling the winners to another campaign. So you're extremely confident based on data that each one of these ads that's in the
Will
CBO
become highly profitable.
is a winner. So you can feel very, 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 very confident to scale that aggressively. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of this.
That is why the whole profile funnel is way more beneficial than VSL funnel, because most people that utilize the VSL funnel, they need to spend so much money to test every single day. They spend so much money, they don't figure out a way to make it profitable. And then obviously, as you said, you have a lot of problems with the messaging, you gotta adapt it, but you know what? Like, that's chill. You can sit down and record another creative, but you cannot just spend another $100 just to test every single day, multiple times on multiple creatives. Now, what does the word profile entail? A profile is, I see it as an avatar, right? It's an avatar, a person. You can see it as a person because you get onto a profile and you'll relate with that profile or you don't. The questions we gotta ask ourselves of why you relate with that profile is based on how you speak, based on what you show, and based on what people hear. Things like that. You see what I mean? So you have to understand that right now, let's say you're making loads of content and the only thing that this content is about, let's say, a lot of memes, how to,
Education.
any other data points of maybe any workflows or education. What is the whole goal of our profile? The goal of our profile is to make sure that customers that we attract through the profile funnel that me and Aaron just explained, people will pay us. Right? That's the whole goal. Do you think that through content like this, or how-tos mainly, people will relate with content or will they relate with you? Because the whole goal of why people would ultimately make a purchase to pay you instead of your competitors is because of you. That's not because of somebody else. That's not because of an how-to, because everybody can create a how-to.
Exactly.
But nobody can replicate you. So the main thing that we need to work on is personalization in who you are, what you do, what your values are, so we can express that to the market. So every single person, just like they're watching right now, can feel, okay, listen, I relate with this topic or not. Like, people are watching this video right now because they relate with what we're talking about.
Exactly.
People that won't, they would have already clicked off. The only way to do this is to do three things, right? We want to make stories, reels, and long-form content that all relate with who you are as a person and your values. People don't buy into a new mechanism. People don't buy into specific educational content about topics that you can talk about. People don't buy memes. People talk and mainly buy because of your expertise, your story, and your credibility.
How would we do that? Because my brand, it's not a founder-led brand. We do have multiple faces from the education and the how-to, because I have multiple coaches delivering the service.
I think that there's a few things that you can do. So what Nik said is 100% true, but at the end of the day, the mechanism stays the same. We can still send traffic down a profile. You can still set up the conversion the same way so that it's more of a funnel.
Yeah.
Rather than just a how-to profile, right?
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what we teach, right? How to make this a funnel so that you can run it alongside your VSL, so that you can use this as your main acquisition funnel. That's the whole thing.
Like,
and it doesn't need to be founder-led.
What I was thinking in this situation on how to leverage the profile funnel for us would be not make it founder-led, but I could appear sometimes. And I felt that primarily we need to make content that's like who we are, what we do, how we do it, who we do it for.
Yeah. And I want to see 1 million testimonials everywhere. I think that story sequences are going to be such a big thing because
Absolutely.
I bet there's a lot of people that watch your content that just consume it and they don't even know, honestly, that you sell anything.
I
right?
100% agree with
And so it's just, you're taking the low-hanging fruit when you're doing this, 100%.
In my opinion, people convert. Again, not because of the how-to tricks, because they can just type on YouTube how-to. That's not the value here. The value is in you. So we need to bring that across. So you have a profile and you have a specific bio where you write who you help and how you help them for them to be able to ultimately get drawn to a CDA so you can get a setter, AI setter, which you already have engaged into the DMs. Then the second thing we need to do is we have profile highlights, right? These profile highlights explain our personal story. So every single time a new person comes on our profile, from the ads that we have explained, they can relate with a certain story type. Let me ask you this. If you see a YouTube video, let's say you see a YouTube video, how to or how I,
the YouTube's how to.
right?
Yeah.
It's how-to is explaining a topic about how you could create something, but everybody could make an how-to. Everybody can create an how-I. The only problem is how strong is the actual story behind the video.
Got it.
People rather click on that because you leverage your credibility, you leverage your expertise, and that is exactly what we need to bring out. And that's what we can do in these highlights. There is a difference between somebody with expertise and being a good coach. Every single person that thinks they have expertise thinks they are a good coach, but that is bullshit, because the ability of you being a good coach goes hand in hand with understanding how good you are at communicating your value to other people. Mm-hmm. So even though you have a lot of value, that does not mean you can communicate that towards other people.
I agree.
And that's not what you're doing right now. Right now you have a lot of value, but you haven't learned yet to communicate that to a lot of other people, to expose your expertise for them to think. So when it comes down to story sequences specifically, there's a format, right? And there's a 3-step process with story sequences. The first step about story sequences is we can provide value to our audience. That's the most important thing. The second thing is education. The only way education becomes valuable is if you're an authority. You are an authority, but people don't think you're that yet because you don't have the brand. And then the last one is transformational. And the reason why transformational is important is to gain that credibility for us to make the educational topics very valid. When we build a profile funnel, we get loads and loads of people through the door on the top here. All these people will go through the middle of the funnel where they see your stories, they see your reels, and they see your YouTube videos. When they see these things, they'll be converted at the bottom line. Now, stories don't convert people, stories nurture people. And there's a clear difference between nurturing and converting. Converting is making them the step to put down their credit card and pay. Nurturing is the step of helping them get to the point where they put their credit card down and pay.
Exactly.
When we run story sequences, as Aaron just described as well, the most important thing that we need to do is we need to bring clarity into what the framework should look like. As I showed you these 3 examples, we have educational, we have value, and transformational. So what we can do is we can build a testimonial around how we have helped one of our students become a profitable music producer, to be able to follow his dream, things like that. You see what I mean? Right. And when we have that asset, that idea, this is the most important thing, because one of the biggest questions I get all the time is, Nick, how can I get content ideas? Now, when you have this topic, you can now distribute this into a short form topic. You can now distribute this into a testimonial. You see what I mean? You can distribute this into a long form content piece. When we talked about the profile funnel, when we're going to run the profile funnel, when we're going to bring in your story, we for sure need to run creatives that relate with who you are. Mm-hmm. So you need to show your face in the creatives, because that will be relatable for people to click on the profile and be like, oh, this is the same guy.
How can we set this up? Because I want to set myself up for a potential exit.
Oh, easy. 2 simple options. You either do you or you hire somebody to be the front face. But I can tell you right now, the profile funnel works because a lot of topics relate to each other. It's like an ecosystem, right? It's everything here is connected to each other. You see what I mean? It's an ecosystem. So it all rolls into each other. And I think it's very important that every single process syncs. So as an example, we have an ad running. This ad is my face, is Nick. And guess what happens? Then ultimately they get into my content. What do they see? They see Nick, right? And then ultimately Herman gets on a sales call, but the sales process is super relatable to the content that we produce, which is why our closing rate is 75%. Because everything is perfectly synced. Everything is perfectly in line with each other. You can explain more about the sales process. Explain our sales process and how we implement it for clients.
Well, I would say that 80% is already done through the marketing, through the profile funnel and everything regarding to positioning and messaging. The other 20% is more so making sure that the last questions they have bring them that additional confidence that this is the solution for them. Probably the same thing what you have right now with your closer. He understands the language, he answers the last couple of questions, and he's able to convert.
Correct. The only reason why this sales process works super effective is because not only cost per acquisition will be a lot lower, your total upfront charge will be a lot higher, your average customer retention will be a lot higher, because people maintain, you attract better quality clients and stuff like that. So you constantly have a higher PIF rate, you have a healthier cycle within the whole sales framework and the whole sales cycle to be able to attract a lot of better customers that we have, because the top of the funnel goes hand in hand with the middle of the funnel, and that goes hand in hand with the bottom of the funnel. That's the only reason why everything flows super well within our ecosystem that we've built for ourselves, why we make millions of dollars and our clients do as well.
If you would implement everything regarding to acquisition, you're going to get way more leads in, and then tracking becomes more important. I think you mentioned one of those things is one of the bottlenecks. Now, I think there's 3 things that we need to do with tracking. One is knowing everything that is relevant for tracking. You want to track everything that's relevant. That's the first thing. And the second thing, track with intention. Because, for example, the things you do track right now, how much are we actually looking at that and basing decisions on that? Let's say you have a show up rate problem, right? So do we actually look at the funnel? Do we actually look like what the closer does to make sure that they show up? What day do they remind them? Do they remind them 24 hours before? Do we use email to make sure that they show up? Do we bring them value before? So really track with intention. And I think the third thing is awareness on the importance. So let me give you an example. Let's say you start to track cash per call booked in. If you divide cash per call booked in by 10, let's say your closest commission is 10%, you basically can go to your closer, hey, your hourly rate is basically $80 if cash per call booked is 800. I can make sure that I can double this. But for me to make sure your hourly rate doubles, I need to know what's going on. So I only need you to spend 20 minutes a day filling this sheet in, and I can make sure that I know what to do to make sure you get more quality in your calendar.
Right. The biggest value of a closer is not being able to close deals. It's the ability to understand what happens around the closing process. So as an example, doing the follow-up process is very important, right? Doing the pre-call process is very important. Having the ability to understand how to track everything correctly. Having the ability to understand how to improve the sales continuously. Watching back your own sales calls.
And I think we're good at all these, but the one that we're really bottlenecked is the tracking. Right now, we're doing about 80% of our conversion in the call. And that's what attracted me with the profile funnel.
80% of the conversion needs to happen in the marketing. 20% of the conversion needs to happen in the sales process. Right now, it's the opposite.
And I'll add on to that because like if you were to go on our page, this is the type of content we're looking at. So the people don't necessarily know who we are, what we do, or how we do and whatnot. So that's why, the 80% of the conversion is happening in the call because the closer has to kind of go through that.
What does someone need to see to get on a call with you and be 80% sold? What do you feel like that is?
I feel like they need to know that we are qualified to do it, and that would come through the results in the case studies.
Look at this. Now what they get and why this is 20% marketing and why it's 80% sales is because of this, this, and this.
Right.
When it's the opposite way around, when you show your story, you show your credibility, your education about the topic, you show your transformation, right? People sell themselves in the marketing and they'll get on a sales call. They already know you. They value what you do. They know you have credibility. They don't have questions if you have other testimonials that you can post. And then
I see it.
Makes it easier to hire a closer as well. Because sometimes when Nick looks at the close rate and it's so high, I tell him like, I'm not doing something special. I'm just doing nothing wrong. Right. And that makes it way easier.
Yeah. And we're not saying get rid of this, right? Like this is very important to keep growing, right? This is your top of funnel stuff.
Of course.
And what happens after? It's very simple. You have $10,000 monthly ad spend. You get an X amount of profile visits. So let's say 100,000 profile visits. And out of these 100,000 profile visits, which is what we can track with our software, we have software that tracks everything accordingly, which I can help you with. The conversion rate to follower, let's say, is around 10%, 11.2%. That could be an example. Now, the conversion rate to qualified follower from here is only, let's say, 4,750. And then what happens is these followers will all see your content, all see your story sequences. Our story sequence conversion will increase. Our sales process will be better. We get more calls and stuff like that. You can have around 2,000 conversations from this. And from these 2,000 conversations, you can easily generate 1,000 qualified conversations. Ultimately, 500 people could book in a call with you. And then from these 500 people,
50% show
yeah.
rate.
Yeah. So let's say 300 people show up. You understand exactly how the process will go. And it's just an example of what it could generate. The beauty about the profile funnel is you can have a cost per call anywhere between $40 up to $120 max. Most of our clients that make anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million a month that run the profile funnel are all clients that have a cost per book call of $40 to $120. The most important thing, marketing are assets, right? Sales is personal invested time.